Namaste, Shabana ji. Thank you so much for joining us on this show. I'm so delighted to have you here. We've been speaking for a very long time, and eventually we are meeting on this particular platform. So, thank you so much for accepting this invitation, and thank you so much for sparing your time. Um,
Namaste,
we are
Harmanjeet ji.
absolutely, thank you so much. We are together to talk about a very grave concept or a very, very grave topic here. Why I call it grave is because people don't understand this. This is a very highly misunderstood topic, menopause, especially in India. Women are scared to talk about it. Men don't want to admit that something of this order even exists. Leave about, talk about. So, thank you so much for accepting this opportunity to actually just highlight of what actually is happening around in India. I'll give you a small little introduction about myself. I've been in the Merchant Navy for almost about 21 years, and I have a small little skincare brand of my own by the name of Himalayan Naturals. We've been on it for about 6 years plus. And right now, we are trying to create a community to serve women who are undergoing menopause. As per the last WHO report, more than 62% of the world's population is women. And every woman would go through this phase. And it's not a small phase, it's not a 2 month, 4 month phase. It can last up to about, I would say, 11 years, 12 years, considering perimenopause, menopause, and
Yes.
postmenopausal phase. And the worst part is, it's not like heart disease or lung disease or cancer that किसी को हुआ किसी को नहीं हुआ. This will come through to every woman. So instead of fighting it, what we are trying to do is we are trying to encourage women to accept this with grace and build a community whereby these things can be talked freely. So we are gathering uh, information. We are onboarding experts like yourself. We have dentists. We have yoga gurus, we have spiritual healers, we have medical science professionals, we have Ayurveda practitioners, and we are gathering more. We recently did a small little video with an author. She recited a very beautiful poetry on menopause that she had written. So I would request you to just introduce yourself before we start the video, ma'am.
Once again, namaste to Harmanjeet ji and all the listeners. And I'm quite grateful that you gave me an opportunity to be on this platform today because what you're building up is something really amazing because very few people talk about this topic, and especially men. I have at least not come across anyone who is advocating on the importance of menopause and how women should be supported for it. So I'm really glad that you are doing this, and I wish you all the success with the mission that you have started off.
Thank you. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be hearing these words from such stalwarts as yourself. So, ma'am, before we actually go ahead, uh, I would want to, ask you about your experience in this field of breath work. When did you start? How long have you been on it?
Okay,
Why
so
did you choose
I
this?
let me introduce myself. I'm a yoga therapist and I'm the founder of Yoga with Shabana. And
Okay,
I help people heal and live better lives through the power of yoga therapy, pranayama, which in today's world is called breath work and sound
right.
healing. So these are the modalities that I use to help people de-stress, live better, recover from burnouts, improve the hormonal balances, reduce chronic pain and all. And I am in this field since past 10 years.
Okay,
And
wonderful. That's
I'm a certified
quite some
yoga
time.
therapist as well as a meditation teacher. pranayama teacher, and a sound healer.
And you are based in Bangalore.
Yes, I'm based in Bangalore, but I work globally as I
Okay.
work on the online platform and on for the on-site, I work with corporates, team outings, yoga retreats. And my
Wonderful.
journey also started off with uh, Nephrophobia. It's a kind of phobia where you have an illness, just a fear of contracting an illness. And I had a
That's right.
fear of contracting cancer as my mom was diagnosed 10 years back.
Okay.
And that was the time when I decided to build the right environment in my body so that even if I have that gene, it never gets activated. And that
Okay.
lead me to on this path of yoga. And not only that, I found my purpose in life, but I'm so happy that I'm able to help so many people in this past 10 years, so many lives that I have touched and bring about a very big transformation and upliftment in their life and a lot of optimism and positivity in their lives.
Wonderful. 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 So, ma'am, I would like to start off with a misconception, or let's say a concept that has been built in my head. Breath work, is it is it the foundation pillar of yoga, or is it just one of the branches? Why is breath
Okay.
considered so important in yoga?
First of all, I would like to say, let's come to yoga later, but if we think of it, we can survive weeks without having food. We
Right.
can survive days without having water. But
Right.
without breath, it's only few minutes.
Absolutely. Three
And that
minutes
shows
precise.
how important is our breath.
Right. Right.
And in yoga, breath plays a very, very important role because breath is the anchor between the mind and the body.
Mm.
And that connection is built stronger using the breath as a tool in yoga. Because what happens and why yoga is different from other exercises is because in other exercises, we are only focusing on your repetitions. Okay, my teacher said do 20 repetitions, I have to do it. But am
Right.
I mindful about how am I breathing? No, I'm not. I'm just listening to some loud music. I'm
Yes.
running on the treadmill, but I'm not aware of my breathing. But in yoga,
Right.
every move is using the breath. Every change in your position is with an instruction of breath. Why? Because constantly being aware of your breath is somewhere creating a deep mindfulness and awareness in your own body. Your mind is
Mm.
not outside, your breath is helping it to stay focused here on your body and know what are the changes that are taking place. And that's why breath plays a very important role, not only in asanas, but also breath plays a very important role to gain control over the mind, to gain mastery over the mind. And that is the
Right.
ultimate goal of yoga, to gain mastery over the mind. Chitta vritti nirodha, remove all those uh, conflicts, whatever thoughts and a lot of distractions that are going on in the mind, just remove them and bring it to a stillness state,
So,
calmness,
ma'am,
bliss.
this brings me to another very fundamental question. Consider me to be a layman in this. Is pranayam, or breath work as we call it these days, how is it different from just breathing deeply?
Okay, first of all, breathwork and pranayama are not one and the same thing. I would not say that pranayama in English is called breath because
Okay.
breathwork is something which is connected with the exchange of gases, the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. There are many breathwork practices which are done only through the mouth. You just keep inhaling and exhaling through your mouth. Now,
Mm.
whereas we talk about pranayama, prana is the life force energy, and
Right.
ayama is gaining control over it. So, pranayama means gaining control over the prana, and through that, gaining control over the mind. So, now when we do pranayama, we are not only working with the exchange of gases in our body, but we are working at a much subtler level beyond this physical body at our uh, Manomaya Kosha also. The third, the Pranamaya Kosha and then the Manomaya Kosha. So the outer layer of our existence is Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body.
Right.
Breath work works on the physical body, changes the physiology in your body and everything. It's very good practice. There is no denial to it. But then when we come to pranayama, it goes much subtler. Pranamaya kosha is the second seat of our existence after the physical body. And then comes the manomaya kosha, which is the mind layer of our existence. So it works. So if I give you an example, anything that manifests in the physical body as an ailment first starts in the Manomaya Kosha. From there, it comes to Pranamaya Kosha. And from there, it is seen in the Annamaya Kosha, which is the outer sheet. So, how you can know is sometimes, see, there are thoughts running in your mind, and you're very anxious about something. And that thought is constantly, repetitively, at a very high speed going on in your mind. What you will notice is your breathing pattern changes.
Mm.
Your
I
breathing
know.
becomes very fast. So in
Right.
Pranamaya Kosha, it has already come. And then in your physical body, you start noticing the symptoms, sometimes trembling, or a lot of sweating, or nervousness. You're just moving around here and there out of anxiety. You just cannot understand what to do. So
Right.
that is how it works. So that is why pranayama is a very different and a very deep practice, which has been which is our ancient wisdom found by our ancient yogis, and now we are practicing it. But it is completely backed by modern science. It's a perfect fusion of ancient wisdom with the modern science.
So, considering this, what are the earliest references of pranayam in the Vedas and Upanishads? Where did it start from?
So, the history of pranayama goes back to Vedas and Upanishads. So, if we say Chandogya Upanishad, there was the mention about the nadis.
Okay.
Then, the Prashna Upanishad, there was the mention about of multiple mantras for the prana. And in few other Upanishads also, there was mention about the pranas. And if we see back then, pranayama was more of a there was emphasis on rituals on those days, and it was used with religious ceremonies.
Okay.
And it was considered that prana is the universal life force, which there is no denial to it even today. And that point in time, it was used to harmonize oneself with the cosmos. But
Okay.
there was no mention in Upanishads and Vedas about the ratios or breath holding and all those. No Nadi
O-
Shuddhi and all.
Okay.
So, in the Upanishads and all, it was considered that universe is prana and an individual is the universe.
So, if we go back to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, I mean, they have a mention of pranayam and they have a mention
Yes,
of breath work and pranayam being one of the eight limbs of yoga.
yes. So, Patanjali's yoga was Ashtanga yoga, the eight limbs of
Acha.
yoga.
Hmm.
And in that, pranayama becomes a practice within a sense of liberation.
Right.
And in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there were four types of pranayama which were mentioned. And there was a lot of emphasis that was given on cessation of breath. So, say after a Kapalbhati practice, after completing your last round, for few fraction of seconds, there is no urge for breathing. And that's the Kevala Kumbhaka state. That is
Yes.
a kind of suppression of your breath. So those were given emphasis in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And then coming further down came Hatha Yoga Pradipika. And in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, there were eight varieties of pranayama which were mentioned along with bandhas and mudras. And there was
Okay.
also mention about at physiological level how these practices can benefit one.
So, ma'am, one of the you know intriguing questions that I've always had, and I want to ask you here, is you've spoken about nadis. You've spoken about the concept of nadis, the energy channels. But inke saath, there's one more attachment that comes as kundalini, and it's a very hyped up sort of uh, topic. So, how does pranayam affect kundalini and nadis? And could you explain kundalini a little bit to us?
Sure. So, first of all, I would like to give more knowledge about the nadis. So, nadis are basically the channels in which the prana is flowing. In Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it was mentioned about granthis. So, granthis are basically the knots or the blockages in these nadis, the channels in which the prana is flowing, and especially the blockage or the granthis in the Shushumna Nadi, which is the central channel in which the main prana flows. Okay. And also the rest of the body where there were small granthis around. And that's where this Kundalini, when awakened, it pierces the granthis or the chakras, the energy centers, so that when it's pierced, it opens up and it gets activated. So now coming to Kundalini, as you asked me, of course, I'm not a specialized Kundalini teacher, but as per my knowledge, Kundalini Shakti is a dormant serpent-shaped energy lying at the base of our spine near the Muladhara chakra. And through pranayama practices, we try to awaken this Shakti and move it upwards. So from root chakra or the Muladhara chakra, we move it further up completely on the channel and bring it up to the Sahasrara chakra, the crown region of our head. And that's where when pranayama practice in a correct sequence of Kundalini Shakti awakening sequence, it can help in that. Or activating the chakra specifically through the pranayama practices can help to awaken this Kundalini.
So, this is basically a clarifying force which is going to clear the channels and
Yes,
for you to evolve to a higher conscious being. That's what I understand that you're saying.
absolutely. Yes. Because if you want to evolve, if you want that enlightenment, that can come through your Sahasrara chakra, which is the crown region.
Right.
And
So till
for
that
that,
point,
you have,
it
yes,
has to be clean. It has to be clear without any blockages. You want to say? Wow.
absolutely.
See where we are, and अभी भी West कहाँ पे है? मतलब they are not even speaking about this. Consider us having a 5,000 year heritage of practicing this particular powerful thing. Think about
No,
it.
but I would say we should not, pinpoint at West. We should rather pinpoint at our teachers. We should be the ones talking more about pranayama rather than breathwork.
Yes.
We should be the one educating people more about what is pranayama and how it is beneficial, not giving it
True.
a fancy name of breathwork and selling it to the West.
Yeah, we are not, we are not, we should not be copying them. We should be maintaining our originality. So, ma'am, considering this, I mean, just, I would say, taking one thread out of this particular weave, are there different types of yogic breathing techniques also? Are there any? Except for, let's say, we've
So,
categorized some in pranayam, but then are there sub variations in this?
so mainly there are the Kapalbhati, which people think is pranayama, is not pranayama, first of all. It's a kriya,
Acha.
which cleanses your nasal passages so that you are prepared for pranayama. So
Okay.
that's how you start, cleansing the nasal passage, and then you move towards pranayama practices. And then when we practice the different types of pranayama, there are variations in it. So even if Kapalbhati, if you ask me, I teach four different types of Kapalbhati. So there are variations. So
Okay.
as a yogi wants to progress in their practice, there are levels of practicing pranayama. So for a beginner, I teach them a first level of pranayama practices and that sequence, which is more of calming and balancing. Then after a year or 2 years, if a person feels that now we want to go further deep into this, and then I take them to the level two, where the practices are more energizing and activating. Then I introduce them more to bandhas and all the different locks in the body, you know. And that's how one keeps progressing because what is happening is your lung capacity is improving as you're progressing in your pranayama practices. And this can happen only if you're a regular practitioner on a daily basis.
So, Shabana ji, one more pertinent question that I have here is how is pranayam beneficial in day to day life at a physiological level?
So there are a lot of benefits which a person receives when he's practicing pranayama on day-to-day life. One important thing is the issue that everyone faces is stress, a lot of stress
Hmm,
in day-to-day life.
right,
Whatever role in your life you're playing as a mother or a father, is an employer, whatsoever it is, but everybody goes through stress. And pranayama helps a lot to bring down your stress levels by bringing down your cortisol levels. And this
right.
happens because it lowers the heart rate variability. So heart rate variability is basically the gap between the two heartbeats. So if we see a person who is remaining under a lot of stress all the time, their heart rate variability will be very low.
Hmm,
But a person who is practicing pranayama on a daily basis, their heart rate variability will be high. That means there is good enough time period between the two heartbeats. So their
okay,
heart is getting enough time to rest in between two beats. At the same time, it helps to lower the blood pressure because high blood pressure is a common issue in each and every house now. Also, when there are certain practices of pranayama which practiced on a regular basis can also help to lower your blood sugar levels. It improves the blood circulation in your body. It helps to balance your nervous system, which is the most important thing. So, from a sympathetic nervous system, you start moving towards a parasympathetic nervous system,
parasympathetic.
or the mid balance is maintained through pranayama practices. So, you
Okay.
are active, but at the same time, you are calm. You are
Uh,
doing your work, but you are in a very calm state of mind.
So then again, moving further to this particular topic, what seems to me is that it's a form of meditation, but I would want to clarify from your side. Uh, is pranayam connected to meditation? Is it a preparation or is itself a form of meditation?
So first of all, pranayama is not a form of meditation because pranayama is one of the eight limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, the yama,
Hmm,
niyamas, and all. So pranayama comes after asanas. After practicing your asana, you go to pranayama, and then comes pratyahara, then comes dharana, and then comes dhyana, which is meditation. So, pranayama is basically a practice which helps you to prepare for meditation. Why? You
okay,
must have you must have heard from a lot of people that I cannot do meditation. It's a monkey mind. The moment I sit in meditation, I close my eyes. There are so many thoughts coming to my mind that I cannot concentrate, and so I cannot meditate.
right.
So, you have to first prepare your mind. And as I said earlier, that the breath is the anchor between your mind and the body. So by sitting in pranayama, you are taking your mind towards that stillness which meditation requires, or the slowness in the number of thoughts coming to your mind. So breath helps you to slow down the thought process in your mind, and then it can lead you to the state of meditation. So it's a preparation for
Prep-
meditation.
It's a preparation. Okay. And now
And
coming
also
to,
it's one of the limbs of yoga.
right,
What we offer, different eight different limbs of yoga. Yeah.
right. So, ma'am, now coming down to where we started from, we started about talking about menopause and perimenopause. How can yogic breath work? How can pranayam support women during perimenopause and menopausal stages, and especially in managing symptoms like hot flashes, anxiety, and sleep disturbances.
So pranayama plays a very important role for a menopausal woman or someone who is in the perimenopause phase. Why? Because if we see the major issues that a person faces is there is a lot of stress, fatigue,
Yes,
and all. Because stress is because the body is undergoing a major change, which sometimes a person is not willing to accept. The change in the way they look, their skin, their hair, everything changes, their energy levels, everything changes. And they are somewhere not coming to terms with accepting that major change coming in their body. And that creates a lot of stress. At the same time, it also creates a lot of anxiety. How am I going to look now? How people are going to accept me in the society with this changed body of mine? I don't look
right,
as fit as I used to look in my 40s or
right.
30s. Now my body is completely changed. Right. So, pranayama plays a very important role because it works through the control of breath. It helps to control the mind, and as a result, it helps to reduce anxieties.
So this
It
is
also
very.
helps, yes.
And are there any specific pranayam techniques that are particularly beneficial for balancing hormones, calming the nervous
Yes.
system,
So
supporting
coming back to that,
during
yeah, how we
menopause?
can support is that we have to help women at the level of, emotional balance, resilience.
Mm.
That is what is created to pranayama. Of course, the hormones are completely imbalanced, so we try to regulate the hormones through the pranayama practices, working also on the thyroid gland and the other endocrine glands in the body, because pranayama works on all the glands of your body, from
Right.
pituitary, pineal, thymus, thyroid, parathyroid, your adrenal glands, sexual reproductive organs glands. Everything is taken care of when you do pranayama practices because it works very well on your nervous system and your endocrine system. So for a menopausal woman, coming back to that, it helps to reduce the anxiety. It helps to reduce the stress and the fatigue that the body is feeling because of the hormonal changes. It also helps to cool down the body internally by doing cooling pranayamas because there is a lot of hot flashes. The pitta has increased in the body, and that can be reduced by doing cooling pranayama practices. Next, sleep. Sleep is a major issue for a menopausal woman. They are not able to sleep in the night and they depend on magnesium and many supplements and all that, and still they will sleep
Yes.
there. They're still not able to sleep. So at
Right.
that point in time, a Bhramari pranayam can help a lot, raising the legs up the wall and practicing Bhramari in the bed before sleeping can help a lot. Nadi Shuddhi can help them a lot before sleeping, and it can be followed with Bhramari then, because that will, Nadi Shuddhi is when you do alternate nostril breathing without any counts. And Anulom Vilom is the same practice, but when we do it with the ratio. So when you do
Right.
that practice, it helps to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. And when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, it takes you into the rest and digest mode. And for rest and for sleeping well, parasympathetic nervous system activation is very important. So that
Very
is what
important.
happens through pranayama. And Bhramri will further add on to taking the mind to a very relaxed state because Bhramri works straight away on the brain, on the hippocampus at the top of your head by creating vibrations when you hum. And that
Mm.
helps to sleep better. And also, all the neurotransmitters are released when you practice pranayama, like serotonin, oxytocin, GABA, uh, dopamine. So when all these neurotransmitters are releasing all those chemicals which are required by your body to be in a more stable state emotionally and physically, this is all can be achieved through pranayama.
That's quite a lot of information, I would say. So just give me, I would say, two takeaways that our audiences will funnel into from today's talk. Most important takeaways.
Don't take your breath for granted. Be very mindful because we all come with fixed number of breaths in this world.
Absolutely. You said it,
Normally,
you nailed
people
it.
measure age in terms of numbers, but the ancient yogis used to say that it's measured in the terms of number of breaths that you are taking. So the lesser number of breaths that you will take, the longer will be your lifespan. So all those new age longevity hacks which people are trying to hack,
It's not going to
first be mindful about your breath, reduce the number of breaths that you take per minute, and automatically you'll live a more longer and a happier and a healthier life.
Wow, that's very good. Brilliant, brilliant information, ma'am. And thank you so much for sharing such important, such, I would say, rooted and grounded information with us. And in such simple terms that it was even clear to, I would say, a layman like me. I was always under a lot of I would say, disillusionment regarding Kundalini, breathwork, pranayama, all was mixed for me. But yes, you clarified a lot of things, and I'm sure the audience will love to hear more of this in the coming times. And thank you so much for joining us on this particular show. And I'm sure that we will do more such videos with more knowledge from your side.
It was a pleasure being here, and really I enjoyed sharing the knowledge that I have gathered over years because knowledge is always meant to be shared.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, signing off, thank you so much,
Thank you so
Shabana ji.
much.
Thank you so much.
You
Have a
too,
good day.
Harmanjeet. You too.